5, 4, 3. Hi, everybody. Dugroz here with Dugroz Reports. Welcome to my Saturday morning live stream. Today is Saturday, March the 28th, 2026, and I'm reporting live from my house. Good to see each and every one of you on board this morning. We'll take just a quick moment here to see how many people are viewing at present. Nick1828 says, working night, so watch the replay. Celebrate. Thank you. Ian wanted to send me a Discord message, and then Ian K starts with a big time donation, $49.99. Celebrate. Thank you, Ian. That's super generous. And says, enjoy lunch with your boys today. Don't let traditions like that die easily. You're a good man, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Diehards like you that keep my channel alive and going. And as far as the Saturday morning lunch with my boys, yep, that tradition is still alive and well. This particular Saturday, it's not going to happen because they're at a pickleball event with some school friends, but I will still eat lunch with my friend Brian and, of course, resume with my boys next week. Even when they're off to college, if they're living anywhere in this general area, I'll still meet up with them on Saturdays for lunch. AZ Fox is happy for the U of A Final Four today, also known as Mojo. Tom Graber's here and gifts one Dugroz Reports membership. Celebrate. Thank you. That's just as good as a $3 super chat. I'll get into more details on how you can support my channel a little later, but certainly if you want to drop a super chat or super sticker, that helps feed the algorithm and supports my channel. Right now, there's 33 people on board, so if you would be so kind, simply click the like button, and that'll drive more people in to watch. FLX-NY says, good morning, all. Looking forward to the live. Glad to hear it. Latitude and Attitude Guy says, comment to Zoo-Us Purple Person stage event. I'll just assume that's gibberish to feed the algorithm, and I appreciate it. But if there's some inside joke I'm missing, by all means, speak up. DEM is here and says, consistent with the poo-poo schedule. And then Juan says, good morning, everyone. And Doug, good to see you, Juan, in the MIA. Thanks for being here. Matt Clausen stops by. Howdy. And Travel, Earn, Repeat. Also, good morning, Doug and chat. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and start the same way I do every Saturday morning, and that's with my Dugroz data points. I'm kind of going around the world of points and miles, around the horn, to use a baseball term, now that we have entered MLB regular season. And the first data point comes to us courtesy of Doctor of Credit. Cheesecake Factory, free slice of cheesecake for downloading their app. No purchase needed between now and May 7th. Well, I don't know about you, but I like cheesecake, and I like it even better when food is free. Don't have a store near me. There's one in a completely different part of Des Moines that I live in, but we get out there every now and then. Next up is a targeted Amex offer, and you'll need to check to see if you are targeted or not, either in the app or the desktop site. Also, Hat Tip Doctor of Credit. The first 5 or 6 are all Hat Tip Doctor of Credit. Use Apple Pay 3 times and receive a $10 statement credit. Again, this is Amex, so check your Amex cards to see if you have this offer. I like these offers. I've had them before because they're super easy to use. You don't even have to spend $10 just 3 times. So I might go to the gas station and fill up with 78 cents worth of gas, go inside, buy a cookie, tap to pay there, come back out, get another $1.26 in gas. And hey, that's 3 transactions. Ding! Credit triggered right then and there. All you have to do is tap to pay. In my particular case, I got it, but only on my Hilton Surpass card. That was the only one that got the particular offer, but there it is right there. Pausing to catch up on comments now. Travel, Earn, Repeat. Oh, we already mentioned that one. Taciturn Carp 4 says, Kugalos arrives. Good to see you, Taciturn. Don't know if we've met before or not. I don't remember, but glad to have you on board. New Again has arrived. And then JP Knowledge is here. Hello from the Grand Hyatt. Okay, let me work on my pronunciation. Grand Hyatt Kuala Lumpur. Heading to Japan tomorrow to see the cherry blossoms. Awesome. I'm going to consult my globe real quick. Do you like my new background decoration here? So Kuala Lumpur is somewhere here in the greater Indonesia. There it is right there. It looks like it's the capital of Thailand, or at least a city in Thailand. Anybody able to confirm that? Awesome. Hope you have a great time, both there and Japan. And then FLX said regarding that Amex Apple Pay offer, I did not get it on my Blue Cash Preferred nor my Surpass, but I did get it on my Hilton Honors card. Interesting. George Rommel has arrived, and look, drops a $9.99 super chat. Celebrate, celebrate. Thank you so much, George. I got to move my camera so you can see more of my head here. And George wants us to know this data point. Good morning, just a data point. Bilt did not reinstate Point Accelerator after I returned an $1,800 refrigerator, but they did claw Bilt, Point, and cash back. Ooh, okay. I guess the clawing back is not a surprise. It sounds like what you're saying is they didn't like go back and let you apply that $1,800 towards more with Point Accelerator. So they're being a jerk on all counts. Am I understanding that correctly? If I missed it, let me know. And Juan in MIA says, Doug, thought on the supposed Citi survey for proposed changes on the CSP. If you can hang in there for just a second, you read my mind. That is a little later in the data points. We'll come back to that one. Matt Clausen confirms that Kuala Lumpur is, in fact, the capital of Malaysia, so nailed it. Nurakan says, good morning, all. Good to see you, Nurakan. And Kaimak 4163 said, I heard you do the shimmy every time City Nights comes on. That's true. That's true. 54 people on board. Keep on clicking the thumbs up button. We've got a pretty good flow going here now that we're only a mere 9 minutes into the live stream. So there's more data points. Those aren't the only ones. For example, Citi has a transfer bonus. It's 30%, and it's going over to Virgin Atlantic. This goes through now, and I believe the middle of April, somewhere around the 15th, 18th, in that neighborhood. So now that your Citi points are being devalued on I Prefer and Choice, why not take advantage of Virgin Atlantic? Although I think we have a few more days left on that. Whether or not you want to transfer out is up to you. I love the idea of transferring out prospectively to I Prefer, but without a particular property in mind, I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm going to take a screenshot here because I'm going to West Virginia. Who knows? Maybe there is an I Prefer property not too terribly far away, and I can have one last swan song. But definitely Virgin Atlantic, good use cases exist. From the thing we were saying just a little bit ago, George Rommel clarified, yes, I lost $1,800 of spend towards the accelerator spend. Those jerks, if they're going to take back your points, they should at least say, here's another $1,800 of bandwidth towards your accelerator. Furious Jason says, good morning. Furious Jason, the furious little commenter. Let's keep going. Speaking of Bilt and shenanigans, remember it was either last week or the week before I said Bilt was charging a 0.2% foreign transaction fee, even though they'd advertised that they don't. Well, according to Doctor of Credit, you see in brackets it says refunds. Some of those people are starting to get refunds now. So whether or not that's a batch thing or an all-at-once thing, at least they're making right on it. Still a little concerning that they had that hiccup to begin with. But good that it's being made right and refunded. One guy even had a 2-cent charge refunded, I saw in the comment section. Next Dugroz data point here. We're going to talk about Wyndham for a few moments now. We've got 3 or 4 different things to go over on Wyndham. Let me pause and blow my nose for a second. Bilt adds Wyndham as a new transfer partner. Now they are 1-to-1, so is that exciting? Let's think about this just a little more and whether or not it's all that exciting. At the exact same time, or nearly the exact same time, the Bilt rent day on April 1st, which is this coming Wednesday, so you have about 4 days to figure this out, is to Wyndham, and the bonus would be up to 125%. Now that would be if you have the highest level of status. Other people, it's kind of graded and works its way up the chain of command. But then you should also note this one, and I apologize, I didn't give correct credit where credit was due. The last data point was hat tip upgraded points. And then back to Doctor of Credit for hat tip. And now we have a hat tip from Frequent Miler. You can buy Wyndham points between now and May 1st for as low as 0.65 cents each. And that is an all-time low. I see that I have not yet hit the button. Give me just a second here, folks. I'm having technical difficulties. Ding. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Hat tip to frequent miler. You can also buy Wyndham points for as low as 0.65 cents each. I haven't broken out my calculator, done the exact math, but I think the equivalent of buying them for less than a penny each works out to something like the equivalent of about a 53% transfer bonus. So maybe the transfer bonus from Bilt's not as exciting as we thought, considering you can just buy the points if you cash out for a penny each for an equivalent of 1.53 bonus type thing. If somebody wants to do the exact math, feel free to correct me. You can get some really good value with Wyndham, and I have bought their points before. I used up my last stash on my swan song trip to Galveston. Galveston, oh Galveston. The last possible time you could do Vacasa through Wyndham. That's not an option anymore, but you can still get Wyndham hotels. There's also that option of cottages.com over in the United Kingdom, although that is very niche because you're only able to do it in the United Kingdom. And then also, I keep having the wrong tab incident. Doctor of Credit lets us know that Wyndham has a special right now. Wyndham Member Month. Earn 7,500 points for every 2 nights, and then another 7,500 for card holders. I did the math on this, but I forgot what it was. So let's go ahead and everybody break out your handy dandy calculator. Wyndham will occasionally have hotel rooms super cheap, like around $50 per night. Those are obviously trash holes, but we're talking a mattress run here. So let's just say hypothetically you spend $100 and you earn 15,000 points. That's the equivalent of buying in at 0.66 cents per point. So almost exactly the same as what you would have if you just bought the points straight up. So I don't think this is worth doing, because why have the hassle of a mattress run, have to go somewhere, risk it all, when you could just straight up buy the points for the same amount right now. All right. That's the end of the little Wyndham romp. I'll catch up here. Stinky Monkey Baby's on board. How you doing, Monkey? Happy Saturday. New Again says, no, I prefer in West Virginia, North Carolina, or Virginia. What about Western Maryland? Latitude Attitude Guy says, I prefer isn't all that. I booked a room for 100,000 points and also got charged almost $50, taxes and fees. Booked the same room for 30,000 choice points and 0 taxes and fees. How about that? And at least as of right now, you can still transfer Wells Fargo over to choice 1 to 2. Who knows how long that'll last. That's good to know. When I did my one and only I prefer stay, I booked it with choice points also. And on the main screen, it said something like you may be charged a resort fee of $26 a day upon arrival, but we never actually were. Ron Burns says, I prefer property. The George Washington Hotel in Washington, Pennsylvania, 40 miles south of Pittsburgh. Ooh, that is right in the target. I know exactly where Washington, Pennsylvania is, because the last time I was in that neck of the woods, I drove right through there. In fact, I think that was the town where they had a street where railroad tracks went right down the middle of the street, and it was kind of intimidating. And you're right, it is between Pittsburgh and Wheeling. That's exactly right. New Again confirms there's no I prefers in Western Maryland or Tennessee. Check Raise You is here. Ziz's Christ feeds the algorithm by saying W. And Check Raise You also confirms it's been a while. Good to see all of you folks, and 57 people on board. So go ahead and resume the thumbs of upping, and I will resume the thing that I do, and that is sharing data points with you. This data point's a little on the discouraging side. Hat tip to frequent miler. Air France/KLM Flying Blue increases award surcharges by $100 in business class. Bum, bum, ba, ba. We did not win the prize. So just to clarify, Air France and KLM are transfer partners with pretty much everyone. So it's a popular award for that reason. It's also a popular award because you can often find 2, 3, 4 seats in business class on the same day. The very first time ever my family flew business class, international business class, we got 4 seats on KLM through Flying Blue. With that in mind, basically the surcharges have always been not the worst. They're not like British bad, but they are not great. So usually in the past, flying from North America over to mainland Europe would be somewhere around about $250 in taxes and fees. Now that's going to be in the neighborhood of $350. Flying from Europe to America varied depending on your point of origin because different nations have different tax structures, but say $400 to $500 in the past. Now it's going to be $500 to $600. So don't love that. That Michael Scott meme. Nope. Don't like that. Or Mr. Horse from Ren and Stimpy. No, sir. I don't like it. All right. Now we're going to talk about what Juan and MIA brought up not too long ago. Again, hat tip to Doctor of Credit. Citi sent out a survey for the Citi Strata Premier changes. And the proposed changes include a $195 annual fee and other benefits. Always skeptical that changes are not going to be good for us. So this is really hard to read, but I'm going to try my best. Here's what the initial report was. 10x on hotels, car rentals, and attractions through Citi Travel. I think that's exactly the same as it is now, but anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. 4x points on flights when booked through Citi Travel. That's a 1 point increase. 4x points on restaurants during city nights, up to $25,000 a year. So that would take you from a 3x to 4x, but only on Friday and Saturday nights. 2x points on restaurants at all other times. That's super lame. That's no better than the double cash. 3x on flights and hotels booked directly. That's the same. 3x on select transit, such as car rentals, ferries, commuter rails, taxis, limousines, toll roads, parking garages, the Hoover Dam parking lot, whatever. 3x. I think that's unchanged, but don't quote me. 2x on supermarkets and gas. Oh, super lame. So you're taking away one of your superpowers there. And then they'll supposedly make up for it with some credits. We don't care about TSA pre-check. Splurge, that's the same as on the CSE, I assume, where you can use $100 at like American Airlines or Best Buy. That's pretty easy. 2 complimentary airport lounge passes. Undoubtedly, that means American, just like the CSE, only you get 2 instead of 4. And then hotel credits, again, very similar to the CSE. $150, but it's actually 2 nights minimum and $75 semi-annual. I do not like semi-annual. Stop it. I would rather have $100 once a year. And then $200 for credits for the reserve collection. I think there's an or there. It's just cut off. That's their fancy pants booking, which I probably wouldn't use. A dining credit of $50 twice a year at select restaurants. It doesn't tell us what select restaurants they are, but I'm guessing that's going to suck because I never have any good ones in my area. 300 bonus points when you make 5 or more digital wallet purchases each month. Well, that's interesting. Again, buy 78 cents worth of gas. You can do that pretty easily. And then it says when booking through eligible partners in Citi Travel, receive daily breaks for 2, free Wi-Fi, and an upgraded experience credit of some kind. So that was what initially came out. And I don't like that at all. I think, nerfing the earnings is dumb. The credits are hard to use. I'd rather just pay $100 less rather than take the credits up by, or the expense up by $100 than having a bunch of, annoying credits and stuff. Now, then after that, at least after I saw it, there was another version of the survey that came out, and I saw this on Matt Clausen's channel. So I'm going to give a hat tip to Matt, and I apologize, Matt, if you're on board. I didn't know any way to relay that other than taking screenshots of your live stream. I hope that's okay, but I do have a link to Matt's video in the description box. Here's what I saw there. Again, I'll try to zoom in. This is a little rougher on the quality of the picture because it's just a screenshot. We're back to 8x points on hotels, car rentals through the Citi Travel Portal. 4x on restaurants during city nights. Okay, just like was proposed. 3x on restaurants. Good. 3x on supermarkets. 3x on gas. Good. 3x on flights booked through Citi Travel. That's a break even. No change. 2 points per dollar on recurring bills such as video and music streaming, Wi-Fi, cable, cell phone. That's dumb because I could just use a double cash to get the exact same thing without having to jump through hoops. 2x on flights and hotels booked directly. Again, I can get that on the double cash. Statements are interesting. So a monthly set and forget credit. You receive a $10 statement credit each month when you pay 5 or more recurring bills with your card, earning up to $120 per year. Okay. So if you have some really small bills like an Adobe subscription or your Google storage, your Apple storage, which are $2 or $3, I might do that. Get $120 over the course of a year. Annual splurge credit, $50 semi-annually. Again, easy to use if it's American, Best Buy, and some other stuff. And then that same $75 semi-annual hotel credit. So I would rather they just left it alone altogether. Let me make sure there's not more. Oh, there is more. I'm sorry. And these are all sourced from Reddit, so who knows how accurate it is. Who knows if any of this is going to happen. It's a survey. There was a couple extra benefits that weren't in either of the full proposed table of benefits, but rather standalone questions asking whether this would be more or less valuable to me. I did not take screenshots, says random Redditor, but from memory, a 20% boost when redeeming points for American flights. They did not specify if this was only in the portal or transferring to American. I'm guessing it's the portal, but that's nice because occasionally there's short haul AA flights where your redemption is less than 1.2. And some other type of bonus when redeeming points in the portal for certain types of hotels or attractions. I think 20% as well, but I can't remember. It didn't appeal to me at all. So I don't really care for either of these changes. I'd rather they just leave the annual fee at $95 and give me the benefits it has right now. But if you're going to increase it by $100, I guess I like the second set better. I'll give up the tap to pay thing if I can keep 3x on all those different things. Matt says, all good. Okay, I'm glad we're not fighting with each other. And, got some other comments to catch up on. So that's where we are at. We'll see if the CSP, Citi Strata Premier, has any changes or not. 80 people on board. Great, we're octogenarians. Click the thumbs up button, and we'll keep rolling here. Ding. Ding. Luke's here from Luke's Points and Miles. Hello, Douglas. I'll watch later. I'm headed to your nation's capital. America, America. Some people saying hi to each other. Ian's back on board. Check Raise You says, before I even used any of my flying blue points. Oh, sorry. Okay. And Gentleman Explorer says, I just got the Strata Premier and a custom cash. This may be my fault. It definitely is. No doubt about it. LN330 says, good morning from the Bahamas. Glad to see you here. And New Again says, nah, that proposed Strata Premier is dead on arrival. Big nerf, absolutely. But everybody's loving the coupon book because even if only 10 or 20% forget to use that splurge credit, that is sheer profit coming back to them. Latitude and Attitude guy says, Avianca has a great deal and availability to Europe. 62, oh, I'm sorry, this is an ongoing thing. Great deals and availability to Europe. 62,000 points in business class on Swiss, Brussels, or Lufthansa. $50 taxes fees departing IAD, that is Dulles, and JFK. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. I've always been a little scared of Avianca because I think they have a hard 18-month expiration date or something like that. But if you knew for sure it was going to work out, excuse me, got a little verklempt there. If you knew for sure it was going to work out, you might do it anyway. Anthony Ventures on board. Fire! How you doing, Anthony? And Luke agrees with New Again. This refresh would kill it for me. And the awful elite card. Citi goes from sugar to she. LN says, on board a cruise paid for with UR points, 1.5 cents per point. Ah, the good old days when you get anything in the portal for 1.5. DEM says, I've asked a few former colleagues at Citi about this, two of which worked in cards, and no one is familiar with these proposed changes. Well, sometimes surveys are just surveys. After all, the Wells Fargo autograph Benefia, or whatever their high-level one, still doesn't exist. If they're forthcoming, they're being held very close to the vest, even from senior managers. LN drops a $1.49 super sticker. Way to go. Celebrate, celebrate. LN knows that the standing offer is if you donate exactly $1.49, as it appears on the screen, during my live stream, you get 1,000 Dugroz points. Limit once per live stream. Boom. There you go, LN. Celebrate, celebrate. Thank you. Kevin Hawthorne says, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Good to see you. And New Again back at Luke. Whoa. We got the world's strongest YouTube based out of Central Ohio creator here. Finger Red #1. Sure do. And then Este in Miami says, good morning, everyone. Greetings from Esteban in Miami. Thank you, Esteban. Matt says, if y'all hate the coupon books, give up the good ones. It's sort of all or nothing with them. Long as the banks make bank on them, they will continue. Yeah, this is one of those group behavior versus individual behavior. My wife and I were just talking about that recently. It's sort of like artificial intelligence. Let's just say that you are concerned about the rise of artificial intelligence, and let's not head down that path too hard. But like in my job, I can use it just a little bit. So basically, I can either ignore it and get left behind, or I can embrace it, be one of the first adopters, and have the most job security. So even if I'm personally, philosophically opposed, my personal benefit is to make it my best friend. Interesting. Fargonaut's here and says, hey, 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 hey. And Juan and Esteban saying buenos dias to one another. New Again says, Aviaca is not for the casual or the sensitive. New Again says, it's not consumer choice. AI and coupon books are being forced down our throats. Yeah, it's sort of like what we do here in points and miles. Like, well, if everyone gave up points and miles, maybe the interchange fees would come down. Yeah, but don't hate the player, hate the game. 87 people on board. Keep on clicking the thumbs up button. Got to blow my nose. And looky, there's Mike Newland, also known as Miles of Smiles, coming through with 20 gifted Dugroz Reports memberships. Celebrate. Well, thank you, Mike. Your generosity is never expected, but always appreciated. And I do certainly appreciate it. You're single-handedly keeping me chugging along. Okay, not single-handedly, but you're definitely the bell cow out there leading the way, and I appreciate it. Luke says, with Avianca, you just need some activity to reset that 18 months. Oh, that's good to know. I thought it was a hard expiration. Thank you for clarifying that, Luke. All right, and we'll get to ways to support me in just a little bit here. And by a little bit, what I mean is right now. So you've seen what some of these guys are doing, giving super chats and super stickers, and I really appreciate that. That's a great way to support the channel. There is also a tip jar that you can use. And if you look in the URL, it'll be the very first link. Why might you do that? Well, you might do that because you want to not give YouTube 30% of the revenue. That's one option. Another option is you might want to just be anonymous, and leaving a tip jar tip does give you the option of being anonymous. So I'll try my best to check that throughout the show, see if anybody has dropped a tip in the tip jar. And just to let you know, anything that you donate goes towards my channel, and about 20% I will give to my family budget. So this is sort of like a part-time job. Speaking of tip jar, Juan from the MIA just gave a donation this morning of $3 in the tip jar. Celebrate. Thank you so much, Juan. I really appreciate that. And then DEM drops $4.99, says paying it forward. Hey, I appreciate that too. Celebrate. Thank you so very much. All the support is really appreciated. And then in terms of one other way you can support my channel, you can support it by getting a good night of sleep. How does that help? Well, this mattress that's on the screen right now has a affiliate relationship with me. This is the Sparrow Hybrid Mattress by Nest Bedding. And this particular mattress, my wife and I have slept on for more than 6 years. There's a picture of me when I had less gray in my beard where I started that mattress review. It has a lifetime renewal exchange, meaning that you can swap out the top foam layer for free once in the lifetime of the mattress. That would normally cost around $100 to $150, and you get it for free. It has a zipper, so you don't have to destroy the mattress to take it out. Lifetime warranty, 365-night risk-free trial period. And then here's the more recent video that I made. You can take a look in the description box if you're interested for both the video and my link to Nest Bedding. I would really appreciate it. Even if you have no interest, if you just go out and watch that video, click on the URL and watch the whole video, that supports me as well, because that tells the affiliate that I mean business. And now I'll catch up on some comments here. Let's see. We got DEM thanking Mike for his spicy miles of smiles. And Tony does too. And Juan Garcia does too. And Mike is appreciative. And then DEM paid it forward. We already read that one. Gentleman Explorer says, regarding AI and coupon books, Tragedy of the Commons theory describes how individuals acting in their own self-interest deplete shared finite resources, causing long-term ruin for the entire group. That's the term I was trying to think of, but I'm not educated enough, so I didn't know. Tragedy of the commons. Now it makes sense. I knew there was a word for it. Solid Liquid Fox says, Gentleman Explorer sounds like the ink train. Oh, the example of the ink train is an example of Tragedy of the Commons. 100%. Gentleman Explorer says, can we get the Fraggle Rock doozers to build the Lego castle? I don't know. I know what Fraggle Rock is just a little. I was more of a Muppet Babies person. I don't know what a doozer is, but I'm assuming they have something to do with building. And donates $5. Thank you, Gentleman Explorer. Celebrate. It is on my short list. I'm so sorry. I even put the box closer to the door, so I'm more likely to see it. To be honest, guys, my life has been very busy the last month, so I might have to get the teen boys in the house to help out a little. Let me put my globe back up so I can, look cultured and stuff. Thank you so much, Gentleman Explorer. I appreciate it. Anthony says, next time I switch matches, I'll go for the Dugroz Sparrow. Thank you. Appreciate that. By the way, I know it can be tempting to use Rakuten. Either use Rakuten or me. Can't do both since we're both sort of like, card-linked offers. Latitude and Attitude says, Gol Airlines is starting some new business class JFK gig last week in July. I don't know what GIG is, but it sounds like Spain? Lie flat for $40K American Airlines miles with decent availability. Add on a regional departure airport for about the same price. That would be sweet if I could depart from Des Moines for just slightly more. American is the one that is usually the best about that, it seems like. I'll have to check that out. Gol, G-O-L. I'm going to look it up right now. Gol Air. A Brazilian low-cost airline. Okay, so where is GIG Airport then? Gig Airport. Rio de Janeiro. I go to Rio de Janeiro. I plabo blero. My Portuguese is a little rusty. And then New Again says, even though Citi just refreshed the CSP 2 years ago, has no choice but to refresh the CSP again. Too much better option than CSE. Yep, I hear what they're saying. I honestly think they need to refresh the CSE. It's not quite elite enough for a card with the word elite in the name. 89 people on board. We're super ultra close to getting 90, so keep clicking thumbs up. Latitude and Attitude clarifies that GOL flight is A330-900. Do you think I would like going to Rio de Janeiro? Do I seem like a Rio kind of guy? All I can envision is like girls with big headdresses dancing on the street during parades, similar to Mardi Gras. What do they call that? Festival? Something along those lines. My cultural knowledge is in kind of a niche basket, and sometimes that basket doesn't grow very much. But it probably should. All right, let's keep going here. Next Dugroz data point. You all heard about it. You all know about it. It's the American Express Graphite Card for serious business owners with unlimited 2% cash back. It's that simple. You can earn $1,500 in cash back after spending $50,000 in the first 6 months. Ooh, that's kind of costly. And yes, this is straight cash back. This is not MR points. So basically, they took the Amex Blue Business cash, slapped on a $295 annual fee, and took away the 2% cash back limit on only the first $50,000. So if you have a legit business and you need to spend a lot of money, and you really like American Express, you don't want to run it through some other issuer, then I guess this is the card for you. The best comment I saw on Discord about this was, this is for businesses, not businesses. So I don't know if this is going to get a lot of play in our community. I guess it's a decent sign-up bonus. Another interesting data point is, and by the way, that was hat tip to the Amex website. This is hat tip to upgraded points. They said you can score a $2,000 welcome offer. The current public offer is $1,500, but you might be targeted. Use an incognito window, poke around. You might get one of those targeted, slightly better offers. Carnival, says Mike Newland, not festival. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can't really see a reason to do this when other cards exist. For example, the Wells Fargo Signify has the exact same 2% cash back. You could cash it out. You can transfer it to Wells Fargo points if you have an autograph or autograph journey. And you know what the annual fee on that one is? $0. Now, if you really like the protections of Amex, or you need a charge card with no spending limit, like if you're, I don't know, say you own a business where you're going through $100,000 in inventory, and man, if I did that, I'd be opening so many cards. But if you only want one card, you want it to be Amex, for that kind of person, that makes sense. Science, Dugroz. Thank you, Mike. All right. Next data point is from Upgraded Points. Not really a data point, just an observation. And this particular author, Carrie Stooksbury, mentioned 4-hour wait at the TSA at the Houston airport. How I cleared the lines quickly. I actually flew through Houston Bush back in January. And I haven't paid a lot of attention to current events, but I do know enough to know there is a partial government shutdown. It's only for the divisions that fall under Homeland Security, which unfortunately includes TSA. So these TSA workers who aren't currently getting paid are upset. So a lot of them are calling in sick or not showing up for work, which is causing massive slowdowns at certain airports around the country. Some worse than others. I haven't heard of any major problems here in Des Moines, but who knows? But a 4-hour wait would certainly be a problem. This is on my mind because I'm flying to West Virginia in almost exactly a month. Well, I'm flying to Pittsburgh, but I'll spend most of my time in West Virginia, kind of the area where Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Maryland all meet, and just across the river from Ohio. That general area. So if any of you have any suggestions, I'll be flying from Des Moines, layover in Chicago Midway into Pittsburgh, and on the way home, Pittsburgh, layover in Detroit, back into Des Moines. That one's on Delta. So Southwest on the way out, Delta on the way home, although it was booked with KLM. So I'm flying KLM points on Delta metal. This author said TSA was closed. So having TSA pre-check or clear did no good whatsoever on that day. So any suggestions appreciated. If you have any knowledge of those particular airports, let me know. Back on the data point for the graphite card, DEM said meant for businesses with larger spend due to the charge nature of the card. Yep. Whoops. Amex Business Plus is still my go-to for that. Yeah, I wouldn't be clearing $50,000 a year, so that works fine for me. Luke says Doug plus thong plus beaches equal real will never be the same. When I was young, my grandma and grandpa called sandals where the strap goes between your big toe and your second toe thongs. So I will assume that's what you're referencing, Luke. Me wearing flip-flops. And yeah, I can totally dominate the beach. Latitude and Attitude says, screw the Citi Premier refresh. I need to keep my 3x gas for my $12K monthly fuel bill that I shuffle between Amex Biz Gold at 4x. Ooh. Are you an over-the-road truck driver, or you own a company that just has a lot of delivery-type expenses? And I'm assuming you're putting the first $500 on a custom cash or something like that. And it'd be awesome if you had like 4 Freedom Flexes with Citi when gas comes up as the category. Latitude and Attitude says, sweet, thank you, Mike. I'm assuming that little funny symbol means you got one of Mike Newland's patented donated memberships. Stinky Monkey says, no more stinky refreshes, and drops a $1.99 super chat. Celebrate. Thank you so much. Ian confirms that thongs in Australia are flip-flops. So yeah, my grandma's house, Australia, very common terminology. Moving on here. Okay, so Doctor of Credit lets us know that issues with the product changed Citi Strata Elite cards related to Spurge credits are starting to be resolved. So as our breaking news team here at Dugroz Reports reported a couple weeks ago, people who product changed from something else to the Strata Elite last year in 25 were not getting their splurge credits posted. A lot of people complained. A lot of people wrote about it. And now there are some reports trickling in that it's finally starting to post last year's splurge credits, which is good because I wouldn't want to spend this year's until I knew last year's posted so I would know for sure which year it belonged to. So if you're in that boat, speak up, let us know. At least Citi is trying to do something right. So that's a step in the right direction. And then this one is hat tip to Frequent Miler. National, the car rental company, is bringing back their promo called 1-2 free promo returns. Huh, get it? 1-2 free instead of 3. So what you have to do is have 2 rentals of at least 2 days each, and then you get a single day rental free. A little misleading because it's almost more like 2 for free. 2 reservations, a total of 4 days, then you get a free. But they're calling it 1-2 free. And I don't remember how far that goes. I think it goes through end of April. If anybody knows the exact date, let me know. I've always heard it said something like this is really handy for one-way rentals because those almost always have higher surcharges. So if you need to go one way, like let's say you fly into Columbus, Ohio, spend a day with Luke, then you drive to Wheeling, West Virginia, fly out of Pittsburgh, it would be great for that last leg. Say you pick up a car in Wheeling and drive to Pittsburgh and just leave it there. For that kind of thing, it would save you a lot of money. Polygraph Zone's on board. How you doing, Polygraph Zone? Good to see you. If Citi combined the Premier and the Elite into one card, combine the 2 annual fees with no discount, it would be an amazing one-card setup for $695. Doesn't take much brains and creativity to figure that out. Yeah, they don't like doing that, though. This says Latitude and Attitude. Yeah, I'm with you both. That would be pretty cool. Lost my place. Had a mini stroke. Bear with me just a second. There we go. Okay, we got 2 more rows of data points. Then we'll take our bathroom break and transition into the theme of the day. I haven't even told you what the theme of the day is today. It's a portfolio review. In other words, we're going to look at all my credit cards. I do like to do this from time to time just to keep myself accountable, report to you what's going on. All of the credit cards in my household, what's been canceled, what's been opened, what my overarching strategy is, where I'm going. Do I even have an overarching strategy? So we'll break out the whiteboard from Rich with Points and go over all of that. Dem wants to know if Luke has heard about JetBlue adding more direct routes from FLL to CMH. Well, is JetBlue even going to be around in a few months is a good question. Lots of talk about them looking for a suitor, possible bankruptcy, that kind of stuff. Next, data point. So this is from Doctor of Credit, and it's just an overview of new credit cards that have come out in 2026, launched and announced and rumored. I'm not getting to the rumored part. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, honestly, I feel like this year so far has just been lame, super lame wads. There just hasn't been a lot of exciting news in our points and miles space. So let's review what the new cards that are official have been. We have the Chase Disney Inspired card, which launched on February 3rd for adult fans of Disney. We have Wells Fargo Autograph Journey Premier and Private Bank version, which is basically just an autograph journey that you can get in branch only, and you have to be Premier or Private Banking. And it has some fancier artwork and maybe better customer service. A card called Current Max, which I know nothing about. The Spirit Debit card, not a great card. The American Express Graphite Business, which we just referenced moments ago. So of those, the Graphite's the only mainline card and not that interesting. And unless you're a big-time Disney person, honestly, none of these are really that interesting. And then in terms of cards that have been announced but just haven't come out yet, we have the Robinhood Platinum card. I remember Matt Clausen reviewed this and agrees with Doctor of Credit that it's $695, has a lot of credits, but they're ridiculously difficult to use. X Money, which I don't know much about, sounds kind of scammy to me. And then Chime Prime, 5% back on categories with a $1,500 cap. A little skeptical there. Anytime you have one of those internet-only type banks, I'm like, maybe it's awesome. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I just feel like the credit card news so far this year has just been lame. It's all been devaluations, bad news, benefits revoked, Wyndham being chopped away as a partner from Choice Hotels, those kind of things. Just, I said that wrong. Vacasa being chopped away from Wyndham, not Wyndham from Choice. That was another mini stroke, but you knew what I meant, right? Right. Let's see. Ian was looking forward to the biology break banger. Oh, you think there'll be some copyright-free music? There might be. Luke responds to DEM. I've never seen a JetBlue flight in Columbus. I'll take that direct flight, though. New Again says, even if JetBlue did launch that route, it would only be for a few months. That's how they do it. Not a reliable airline. Rupert says, what about the Bilt cards? They just came out. That's a great point. I don't know why Doctor of Credit didn't include those. Okay. Bilt was big news, giant waves. Other than Bilt, it's been a pretty lame year. Bilt. You got jokes, LOL. Ocean says, agreed, Bilt cards have been the most exciting thing so far this year. Absolutely. Sorry, folks. I don't know why I'm having a lot of coughing this morning. I mentioned this to Anthony this morning. Just a fair warning, if you're using Discord, you might get a friend request from Anthony Venture, but if you look more closely, it's actually Anthony Ventures, plural. So no, he's not starting a new business to help you start up your own business being called Anthony's Ventures. That's a fake, so don't accept a friend request from Anthony Ventures, plural, on Discord. And then I mentioned this is a possibility a couple weeks ago, but still looking for any advice. This particular Marriott Homes and Villas property in Western Maryland, I would love to stay at on my trip next month. Do any of you guys know a way, either roundabout, backdoor, anything like that, to use Marriott free night certificates on homes and villas? As far as I can tell, it's not an option. It's only an option on hotels. Unlike, Auto Camp with Hilton, where it's those trailers and tents, you cannot use your FNCs. And I've got 3 of them. I'd love to use it on this particular property, the only Frank Lloyd Wright-inspired American vacation rental of its kind. It comes out to somewhere in the neighborhood of $800, high 700s, depending on the booking platform. I know you can use a combination of cash and points, but when you do that, the points value was only about half a cent each. I think it was 0.51, which is pretty bad even for Marriott standards. So I really don't want to use, I'm not going to transfer Chase points over to Marriott and then use it for half a cent each. I'd make more sense just to cash out, but I don't want to do that either. So if anybody has any super top secret, not so top secret tricks, either share them with me, send me a direct message, put it on an old video, whatever. Travel Earn Repeat says, with Bilt, I can maximize my Chase points, guys. I assume you mean like you can save your Chase points when they're really needed because you have more with Bilt. Ian says that Anthony Ventures is a loser intimidator. He won't engage in any fun. W, thank you, Zizis. And then Mike says, so are we sure this new Anthony Venture is not better than the old one? Well, he's plural. He's more than one. So that sounds pretty interesting. Next Dugroz data point here. I shared just last week that I had this offer for a Wells Fargo deal, and it's already expired on March 22nd. That means it was probably 2 weeks ago. 20% back on my Wells Fargo dining purchase. It was a maximum of $10. So to max it out, I would have to spend $50. I didn't quite hit the $50, but just wanted to show you that I did, in fact, make it happen. And I saved $8. I think that's a $40 meal is how that comes out. So yes, Wells Fargo does honor their merchant deals. Standard disclaimer I gave last time. My experience is their merchant deals don't work reliably on the business card, but they do on the personal card. And it'll say something like you can only use it on one Wells Fargo card, one use, but it can be any Wells Fargo card. I take that to mean any Wells Fargo personal card. Anthony Venture loves plural himself. Yeah, that was funny. Penultimate data point here. U.S. Bank Business Altitude Connect offer has been increased to $750. I think it has been $500. So you got to spend, I don't remember. I think it's $4,000, but don't quote me on that. And you get $750 back in 3 or 4 months. Normally it's $500, so that is a bump up. If you want to do the Business Connect version, now if you're like me, you can also get the Business Triple Cash, which has the exact same kind of standing offer, and it has 0% interest for the first year. So it just depends on which is more important to you, the earnings on this card or the 0% on the other card. This is 4x points on airfare, hotels, gas, all booked directly. So if you want to earn a lot of cash back on paid travel, maybe you're paid to travel by your job and you get reimbursed. Not a terrible sign-up bonus to combine with that 4%. Technically, you can earn it in the form of points, but what are U.S. Bank points worth? None of us know because they haven't told us who their transfer partners are yet. Are you listening, U.S. Bank? Last Dugroz data point before we take our break. This is a generic looking window, but the orange lets you know this is actually my Saver card issued by Capital One. And I gave it to my kids because they're going to get something at Hy-Vee, but the Hy-Vee pickup is actually through DoorDash, which I wasn't expecting. So it came out to 3% on DoorDash. We long knew that DoorDash always codes as dining, and you get the 3x on your CSR, for example, or something like that. With Chase, I didn't see any data points testing DoorDash with Capital One, but same exact thing. So if you ever need to use DoorDash with your Capital One Saver card, it will code as dining, and you will get your 3%. That concludes the Dugroz data points for this morning. I'll catch up on comments real quick, and then I'll take my intermission here. DEM says Anthony Vainshire is the AV After Dark doppelganger. Oh, Lord. Dem thinks it's getting spicy. And Mike says, does U.S. Bank do automatic credit limit increases? And if so, how often does it happen? I don't know with certainty. I've had my U.S. Bank Cash Plus card for a long time, something like 18 years. Just going from memory, I think I did get an automatic credit increase once, but it doesn't come very often. I do get either letters in the mail or like an online notice that I can ask for a credit limit increase, but it's not automatic. You have to give in to a hard pull, which I think I did once ever, and it jumped it from like a $4,000 credit limit to $5,000 because I wanted to have my available credit a little higher. So I think they can do automatic increases, but they're pretty few and far between. That's been my experience. Does anybody else have an experience with that? New Again says, yes, I've received automatic increases on my U.S. bar only once so far, a year after open, no increase on the triple cash. Gentleman Explorer says, is that Falling Water House? Crazy you can get it on points. It's not the Falling Water Frank Lloyd Wright house. It's a inspired by house. So Falling Water is in southern Pennsylvania, maybe, 30 miles north of the border with Maryland. This house is about 10 miles south of the border in Maryland. So probably about 40 miles apart, but they built this house inspired by Falling Waters. Unfortunately, no, you cannot stay in the original Frank Lloyd Wright house as a part of Marriott Homes of Villas. Now, that would be cool. That would be worth paying for. So, yeah, look it up sometime. It's even got the same furniture style. I visited a Frank Lloyd Wright house in Springfield, Illinois. I think it's called the Dana Thomas House, and had all that same like early 20th century furniture, like very squarish couches and those kind of things. I might become a Frank Lloyd Wright guy. Maybe I'll visit the real house while I'm out there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to our theme of the day now, or not theme of the day. We're going to take our bathroom break first. Sometimes we call it the intermission. Sometimes we call it the bathroom break. Sometimes we call it the biology break, but call it what you want. I'm going to step out for a few moments. You're going to get to hear some copyright-free music, and I should be back in about 3 minutes. I would appreciate it if you don't leave, and I'll give you a topic of discussion to feed the algorithm while I'm out. Why don't you talk about credit cards that you have from before you got into points and miles? Did anything awesome happen on that, like a massive credit line increase, or it ended up coming super in handy later? Talk amongst yourselves. In the meantime, we will go ahead and let you listen to the next big banger. Here we go. Citi.
times. If you get caught eating lunch in New York City, well, it's crazy, but it's true. Dining before 6 p.m. in New York City, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is earn 3 points. If you get caught eating lunch in New York City, well, it's crazy, but it's true. Dining before 6 p.m. in New York City, the best that you can do, the best that you can do is earn 3 points. The best that you can do, the best that you can do is earn 3 points.
All right, that was City's Theme by the generic Christopher Cross. Hope you enjoyed that one. Time to catch up on comments here. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, got quite a few to catch up here. Some people just still joking about the fake Anthony Ventures. Gentleman says Oak Brook is a cool Frank Lloyd Wright side trip from Chicago. I'll have to check that one out someday. Mike thanking New again. Anthony says, did you get a Bojangles yet? I don't know what that means. I know there's a song called Mr. Bojangles by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, but maybe there's some other meaning. Jamal says there's a bunch of his houses there. Tasteland West in Scottsdale's worth a visit as well. Okay, cool. Anthony's digging City. DEM says City Prestige was around the time I really got into this. I still have it. 64.5K credit line has increased on its own over time. Whoa, that is a massive credit line. Calder says this is a banger. New Again says AI out here stealing from Jackson Brown. Shameful, bruh. Solid Liquid Fox says this song is crazy and I love it. Ron says it's like Kenny G and Phil Collins had a mashup. Kai Mock says City Night's coming to every City card soon. Yeah, that's possible or probable. Don Kim said still no Bojangles in Los Angeles yet, but it's going to New York soon. Maybe I can try it out there. Oh, I bet it's a restaurant or something like that. Juan says banger of a City song. Well done. Absolutely, Dong. And then Mike says, I think we need to get an Iron Maiden version of this song. I know someone that would like that very much. His name is John. Ron says, Bojangles website has a map of locations. I remember when the 3-piece Supreme was less than $5. Bryjack says, what a great song for an 80s intro theme for a sitcom. I don't know if a credit card themed sitcom would play all that well, but anyhow. New Again says, this is what I'm saying about AI being shoved down our throats. No way to opt out. It's everywhere. Yep, whether or not I'm involved. Fleet Easley's here. Hello. How you doing, Fleet? Good to see you. So in terms of like something you might want to know, a miniature announcement, a little bit of a heads up here. So this coming Wednesday is April 1st, and April 1st is, of course, April Fool's Day. Those of you who've been around my channel for at least a couple years know the last 2 years I've done something fun on April Fool's Day, kind of like I'm playing a prank on you, so maybe you'll think this is real, even though it's so obviously not, but that's okay. And when we think about April Fool's Day, we often think about pranks or trying to trick people, and that is one of the things that happens on April Fool's Day, but also just lighthearted tomfoolery or just having fun in general is part of April Fool's Day. When my boys were little, we would do April Fool's Day pranks, but we always told them they need to be harmless. So like when they were 5, I took all their Star Wars action figures and laid them out on the piano in like a fight scene as though they had come to life and positioned themselves there, and they thought that was hilarious. So then the next April Fool's Day, one of my boys took like a lot of my paperwork and put it in the bathtub. Fortunately, the bathtub was not turned on. It was just in there dry. And I couldn't find it for like a minute. And then when I found it, he was like, April Fools. And what else was funny is they didn't say April Fools. They said April Fool's Day, like April Fool's Day. So we've kind of kept that tradition alive a little bit, not as much as I wish we had. So this year on April 1st, I'm not going to be doing any pranks, but I will be doing something lighthearted. Right here on this channel, I'm actually going to do a live stream in the morning, probably around 9 or 9:30 Central Time, with some of my music. So I always have records in the background, and I'm just going to talk about music I like, but most of it is going to talk about like this very process of songwriting through AI. So if you want to know what I like, don't worry. This channel is not going to turn into an all music channel. It'll just be a little side quest. I will figure out a way eventually to put the songs on, I don't know, Bandcamp or something where you can download them really cheaply for like, maybe $1.65 each, 1.625, something like that. If you're interested, again, that's not going to become a main theme of this channel, but if you want to know just a little bit more about me, I'll post it here on Dugroz Repoints live Wednesday morning, and then I'll move it over to Dugroz Nostalgia later so it doesn't confuse the algorithm too much. So that's all I'm going to say about that. A few more comments here. New Again loves Bojangles and their spicy and Sally chicken biscuit. Let's see. Ron says he remembers when Bojangles was cheap between 2002 and 2006. Mike says if you like Dugroz's Citi song, you should join his membership and see what delivers his members behind the paywall. Oh, yes. Thank you, Mike. If you want to see the original version of that song with me singing it, you have to become a channel member. $3 a month. Cancel anytime. Just click the join button on any video. If you join while the live stream's going, we'll have a little miniature celebration too. If you want to binge all 65 plus members only videos and then cancel a couple months later, I don't mind. Mike says pranks, winky wink. New Again says Charlotte Airport has Bojangles, Cinnabon, and Chick-fil-A goated, and they're close to each other. That's good to know. Ron wants to know what the bottom record on the shelf is. Right there. That is by Seals and Croft, Diamond Girl. So that's the group that's most famously known for Summer Breeze Makes Me Feel Fine, Going Through the Jasmine in My Mind. But this is a different record. Would you buy a record if there's only one good song on it? Well, back in the day, you didn't have a choice. Timok thought I was multi-talented. Thank you. QC Man says, speaking of AI, Grok's only available for paid Twitter subscribers now. Interesting. Calder says a $1.49 super chat should come with a free song download. Hey, that's a good idea. I should put that in place. Maybe $1.49 is the amount of any song. The other thing I was going to mention is I actually forgot it. So the Amex Business Gold and Amex Business Platinum are now going to come with Chat GPT credits, and they're pretty costly. If I read the details correctly, you have to have at least 2 users. So it's like $600 a year, but you get $300 off. I don't know if that would be valuable or not. Bryjack says Crofts just died yesterday. I didn't know that. That's a slightly morbid coincidence. R.I.P. Charlotte has a Shake Shack too, says Ron. All right, let's go ahead and get into the theme of the day here. And the theme of the day today is a breakdown of my particular portfolio. All the cards, all of them put together. There they are right there. Let me get a different view and click the button to resize. Okay, and we're ready to roll. So what I'm going to do here is just go through any credit card changes that I have had recently, but I'll go ahead and give my standard countdown just in case I do this as a standalone video. I don't think I will, but on the chance that I do, I want to have that option. 5, 4, 3. Let's take a look at my portfolio of cards. And as you can tell on the screen here, this is where it stands right now. A nice, perfect little rectangle. We got 7 across, 5 down, and math says that's 35 cards. And I say mine, but this is actually household. So this is Mrs. Dugroz and I put together. Anytime you see a card with a pink border, that belongs to her. Pink for Mrs. And anytime you see one of the kind of yellowish gold borders, that belongs to me specifically. So the view you're looking at on the screen right now, this is where our household card portfolio stood as of the end of November. So like coming into December, this is where we were at. I've had a few changes since then, and I'm going to go through those one by one. First of all, down here, second from the bottom on the far right-hand column, you see the Barclays Hawaiian card. I thought I could, let me just bring it to the front. There we go. The Barclays Hawaiian card. So that card was back when we were stacking up our what would eventually become Atmos points after the merger of Hawaiian and Alaska was announced, and back when you could still backdoor your way into Atmos through Hawaiian from Amex. And I wanted the ability to move points between my wife and I. I tried to open the business card and got denied. She opened the personal card and was approved. But now that it's been more than a year, it's a $95 annual fee card, might be $99. We don't really have a need for it. So this one is going away. And actually, we called to cancel that during Christmas break at my in-laws' house in Arizona. Hawaiian has this really annoying procedure, or maybe it's Barclays, where if you cancel a card inside your 30-day window, they still charge you the annual fee. Wait until you close it, then a couple weeks later refund it, so you end up with a $99 statement credit. And we have to find a time where we can call back together. And you know, player twos don't love making phone calls, so it's been a while. And we'll get our $99 check mailed to us. But anyway, it is officially canceled. Just got to get our refund still. So bing, bong, boom, one down. That one was canceled. Now, in terms of an addition, kind of sort of taking the place here, you see my 3 Citi cards, the Strata, 2 custom caches, and what's missing? Well, we just finished singing about it a few minutes ago. It's the Strata Elite, Strata. By the way, this website is Rich with Points, hat tip to Rich, richwithpoints.com. Just spell it out. There it is. New card from Citi, Strata Elite, going to help you earn some massive points. There is a catch. They call it Citi Nights. So that card was picked up actually slightly before the Hawaiian card was closed, but I did in that order because I had to make a spot for it here on my whiteboard. So that was probably somewhere around December 15th. I wanted to get it in time to double dip some of the credits. One thing that's really cool that you can do with Rich's website is just right click on any card and then click copy style, paste the style to another card, and it automatically has the same border and is the right size. So there we go. So that Citi Strata Elite's going to slot in there right below its other Citi card. So now we're back to a nice, perfect rectangle with 35 cards. And then the next thing that was really obvious right here up at the tippity top, we've got the Amex Business Green card. Some people have said this is like the worst card in the entire game because it's $95 annual fee. And all you get is 1x on everything, 2x on Amex Travel in the Amex Travel portal. So lame, lame. The only reason I have this is it started out as a business gold, and then I downgraded and got a prorated refund, so it was less expensive. I thought I would wait and play the upgrade downgrade game with it, but I went a whole year, never got an upgrade offer. Excuse me. Never got an upgrade offer, so I'm like, nah, I'm not paying another $95. I asked if there was a retention offer. They didn't give me one, so he gone. No more green business card. I'll pause right now and catch up on comments real quick here. There we go. Let's see. We already mentioned that. Tia Rico says, I use Grok Lite for $10 a month, not an X payer. Okay, I've never tried Grok. I've only tried ChatGPT and Claude. Right now, Claude is my preferred, but I don't have a lot of experience. Let's see. Some comments about the CLT airport. New again is wanting to know about more details on that. Let's see. Filmo says, when the Golden Ponies show up, so does Filmo. Good morning, Doug and all. They're in there. A little hard to see, but right there. There they be. Golden Ponies. Bring them to the front. Bring them to the front. There it is, just for you. All right, we'll get them back to the correct size. Put them back in their stable. There we go. Good to see you, Filmo. Like to see you more often. Okay, there you go. I let them shine. Kaimok says, Party Pass lounges have declined so much that I often eat outside the lounge and go to the lounge to stretch my leg. Yeah, like Priority Pass lounges. There was an episode of Stack Your Points podcast with Matt Clausen and others maybe about a year ago. They called the name of the episode A Cookie and a Sad Salad Bar. And it's like the Priority Pass lounge food is getting so bad. Are you going to run all the way across the terminal to get a cookie and a lame salad bar? I feel like if they could just have like one good quality entree each, like a sandwich or a meat dish or something, that might make it more worthwhile. QC Man gifts 1 Dugroz Reports membership. Celebrate, celebrate. Thank you, QC Man. That's just as good as a $3 super chat. I appreciate it. Mike says the business screen is better than the graphite card. I suppose it depends on your use case, but if you're not spending truckloads of money, yeah, you're actually right. New Again says Amex Biz Green Card's better than the Strata Premier. Upgrade offers are lucrative. Well, I never got any, so I guess for me it wasn't. But I keep getting all kinds of mailers to apply for more Amex business cards, so it doesn't look like they're cutting me off anytime soon. That's the good news. So I don't think canceling the business card destroyed my relationship or anything. QC Man said, I wish more airports with Priority Pass restaurants had options like the Syracuse airport has with Johnny Rockets. That would be pretty useful. Oh, is that like a partnership where you can use your Priority Pass at a restaurant, or they have just like Johnny Rockets foods inside of the lounge? By the way, I've only been to one Johnny Rockets ever. It was in Florida. I don't remember when it was, but probably around 2010 or so. And I remember the restaurant was so loud. Like the music was just blaring. We had to yell to hear each other. My dad got angry and like screamed about it at one point. Like, could you turn that down? Or something like that. Whether or not they did, I don't remember that detail. All right, back to the folio real quick here. Dink, dink. Okay, so I removed the Amex business screen. Now, next thing that came up was, you'll notice I have 2 Ink Business Unlimiteds. Remember how I've been talking for months now about doing one last Chase Ink application? Well, that happened, but in order to increase my odds, I canceled one of them that was a duplicate. Took like $2,500 off of my credit limit. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. For a while, I was down to just one Chase Ink Unlimited personally, but you'll see my wife has one also. Now, what actually happened is I waited about 2.5 weeks, and this would have been like February, I think I did this. Canceled it, waited about 2.5 weeks, applied again, and I got the brand new yet dreaded Chase pop-up. So we talk about pop-up prison with Amex. I'm also in pop-up prison with Chase business card. So I put in my application and it said, hey, we will approve you for this card, but not with a sign-up bonus. So you can either submit your application, get a hard pull, you get a new Ink Unlimited with no sign-up bonus, or you can just withdraw your application right now. And those are the only 2 options. There was no like, yeah, put it through, but I want to see what Recon says. So I just withdrew my application. So I have a feeling that's going to be a thing for a while, because I'm assuming if you accept it, there's absolutely no way you can call Recon and say, can you look at it closer and see if I can get the bonus or not? They're going to say, sir, you clicked the button to accept it with no bonus. Forget you, loser. So yeah, I tried for it. Unfortunately, at least for me, the Ink train is dead. It has derailed, fell off the bridge, and it is no more, unfortunately. So no more Chase Ink train. Now, a couple things were added in here to replace that. First of all, so you'll notice I have an autograph and 2 other Wells Fargo cards, a Signify and my grandfathered Visa signature card called the Golden Ponies card. Now, in real life, it doesn't look like this anymore. It has new artwork. But for the sake of my purposes, Philma, we're definitely keeping that right there. I told Rich he's never allowed to update the card art on his website for that particular card. My wife has a Signify, but no transferable currencies card, because Signify is just cash. So if I want to transfer her points over to mine, she has to have either an autograph journey, or the grandfathered card. Well, you can't just sign up for a grandfathered card. So it's either an autograph or an autograph journey. Now, autograph journey has a much better sign-up offer. It's 60,000 points after, I think, 3,000 of spend. The autograph is 20,000 points after $1,000 of spend. And the big difference, though, is the autograph has 0% APR for a year. Now, our family has a lot of big purchases coming up in the near future. furnace, air conditioner, possible deck, possible roof. Lots of little things, like we had a stump removed in our front yard. My boys have some college dual enrollment credits, some fees through their school, tens of thousands of dollars of expenses coming up in the next few months. So I'd really love to spread that out over the course of a year instead of dipping into savings all at once. Don't have like, $10,000 just shoved under my mattress. So it'll be no interest, but spreading it out over the course of a year is what I want to do. So for me, I'd rather have the 0% than the extra 40,000 points. So we did get her an autograph as well. I have to go ahead and duplicate this card here and then change the border color to hers. There we go. So there it is. First edition this month was a Wells Fargo autograph for player 2. And we'll go ahead and resize that then and paste it in right here next to the other one. That worked just fine. And then for the sake of rearranging things, we're going to move my wife's Signify over here. We're going to move everything with US Bank up a notch. And then the next move, and this brings us up to where we are right now, is I had talked about the business triple cash, which is a business card from US Bank. And this card is 0% interest for a year also. $750 sign-up bonus after spending $4,000 in 4 months. And I've had this card before. Version 1 has already been closed. This is version 2, which is carrying a 0% balance right now till about June. And then I'm also going to get another one. So I signed up for a second business triple cash here. And so now I have 2 of them. Hasn't even come in the mail yet, but it's on its way. So that sign-up bonus is coming to us. I'll have another 0% option. My original card was a $24,700 credit limit. My second one is a $24,000 credit limit. I'm not even going to come close to maxing it out because I can't spend money fast enough, but it's good to have it as an option. Plus a $750 cash bonus. That goes a long way. So that's where my portfolio sits right now. We took out 2 cards, went from 35 down to 33. Added 2 cards, now back up to 35 again. So I get the symmetry of 7 by 5 there, get to keep it just as is. But there's some other plans, mostly cancellations coming up in the near future, and I'll get to that in just a few moments. But I'll catch up on comments before I do. All right. QC Man said, I wish, we already talked about that. Vincent Pascal's here says, late to the party. I just came home from red-eye flight from Hawaii. Awesome. Glad you got home. We just talked about canceling my wife's Hawaiian Airlines card. DEM says I was just at that Johnny Rockets 2 weeks ago. Mike says Johnny Rockets is big with 6 Flags. Oh, okay. Fleet wants to know, in your opinion, the Amex Green worth it solely for the 40K and MRs? I want the gold aligns more than a regular spend. Is 40K even worth the opportunity cost? This is just one guy's opinion, but if you haven't started in on any of the Amex personal cards, I would go in order. I'd do the green, then the gold, then the platinum, so that you can keep those sign-up bonus options open, because sign-up bonuses are almost always worth it. And yes, even the opportunity cost. Figure this out. How much do you spend on dining in a year? Now, what's the difference between the Amex Green and the Amex Gold? I think it's only 1x. Is that right? Or am I thinking wrong? American Express. Let's go and take a quick look here. I'm pretty sure the Amex Green gets 3x on dining, but don't quote me on that. Scrolling down. There it is. Okay. 3x on restaurants. So that 1x extra, let's say you spend $10,000 a year on dining. So you're getting an extra $10,000 if you get the gold card. You're getting $40,000 if you get the green card. That's the way I look at it. Philmo says, I got the Bank of America PRE specifically for that Johnny Rockets. Interesting. Gentleman says, Dinosaur Barbecue in Syracuse is legit. QC Man says, the Johnny Rockets is an option for the party pass, but only if you have a party pass with restaurant access like the US Bar. I'll keep that in mind if I'm ever flying into Syracuse. A lot of people talking about it. Wow. Okay. Here we go. No way Jeff is Chase changed the ink to the IRC Hey, that's a good way of saying it. By the way, good to meet you. No way, Jeff. Appreciate it. Mike says, what cards do you have authorized users on? Ooh, not many. Do you mean like, well, I think I can go both ways here. Let's take a look at the info here. So my wife is an authorized user on my American Express Blue Cash, just because I didn't know any better when I signed up for it. None of these. She is an authorized user on my Golden Ponies card because, again, that was years ago. Just didn't know any better. My Venture X, she's an authorized user on. That's my oldest card, which was later product changed to a Venture X. I think she's also an authorized user on my Venture 1. I don't know why, but that is the case. My two kids are authorized user on my U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve and my U.S. Bank Cash Plus. The U.S. Bank Cash Plus is a weird card. It is a joint card, not authorized users, but back when you could actually apply dual credit pulls from two people. So my wife and I are both equally legally responsible for the Cash Plus, and both of my kids are authorized users, which puts us in one of those weird situations where my kids have credit history older than their own age. And that's it. Those are the only ones where we're authorized users for each other. Back when Chase 524 was a much bigger concern than it is now, I intentionally often didn't make my wife an authorized user because even though I know you can call Recon and say, hey, I'm actually under 524, it's just an AU card, my wife does not want to call Recon. So I just wanted to keep my life easy by having minimal authorized user cards. If she ever has a card that I want to use, I just put it into Apple Pay and use it that way. And it's really no problem whatsoever. Hey, that was a great question. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Vincent says, my MVP cards from a Hawaii trip were the Ritz-Carlton for the Sapphire Lounge and airline credit, and the AA Platinum for MasterCard Luxury Hotels and Resorts program. Awesome. So yeah, keep that Ritz-Carlton in mind. That might make another appearance in the near future. Let's see. Some people talking to each other about the Hawaii trip and that kind of stuff. Amex Gold is the GOAT. Don't forget, though, Doug, gold earns from grocery. Green does not. Again, do the math. Figure out what your opportunity cost is. If you're spending $75,000 a year on grocery, it's worth it. But I'm assuming you also have an Amex like Blue Business Plus, so it's 2x versus 4x, so a 2x difference, not 4x. So when you compare opportunity cost, only compare that $10,000 of grocery spend at the 2x and then decide if it's amazing. But yes, get the green, then the gold. So yeah, ultimately we agreed on that. Fleet says, thank you for the feedback. It's what I've been leaning towards, but the 3X restaurants just doesn't move me since I have the saver. I'd pretty much just for the bonus and Rakuten payouts. And that's okay. Don't be ashamed of getting something just for the bonus. There's nothing wrong with that. I know there are a few members of our community who say you should only get keeper cards. I disagree with them. We got the Hawaiian Airlines card just for the sign-up bonus, and I think there's a perfectly cromulent reason to do that. All right, back at it on the little picture thingamajig here in 5, 4, 3. So as I mentioned, this is where we're at right now. Let's talk about the future. There are some things that I know with certainty are going to be done. If we look up here, we see there are two cards with similar pink borders. And it's a little hard to see. This is the American Express Blue Business Plus, which earns MRs. This is the American Express Business Cash, which earns cash back. It's sort of like the graphite before they had the graphite. So with this particular card, it's in my wife's name. This was another smash and grab, got the sign-up bonus, which I think was $250 cash at the time, 0% interest for a year. That year is now past. Card doesn't have a balance. There's literally no reason to keep it. So sayonara, bye-bye business cash. Actually, it can be canceled any day now. We just haven't got around to it yet. So I'll work with my wife to do that or figure out a way to get that done. By the way, interesting thing is on my own Amex app, I am now getting a targeted offer for the Blue Business Cash with no lifetime language. So even though I've had it before, they are offering it to me again. And then if you take a look down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we got some stuff going on. I'll try my best to... I can't scroll. How do I scroll left and right, Rich? Okay, I guess I won't. Let me move my head out of the way since we're dealing with the bottom left corner. There we go. This is a Sapphire Preferred right here, and it's in my wife's name. That was sort of like a one-time, I'm not going to say smash and grab, but it was a one-time thing with no intention of keeping it long-term. Actually, I did renew it just sort of accidentally because I missed the annual fee. I paid it, of course, but never got around to any sort of call or sign up or anything like that. So this card, there's really no reason to keep it because my wife can transfer her Freedom Flex and Freedom Points and any other points she has, like on business cards, over to my Sapphire Reserve or whatever I have for a Sapphire card in the future. There's no point in having a Sapphire Reserve and a Sapphire Preferred in the same household for us. So going to get rid of it, but not in the sense of like getting rid of. We'll just downgrade it. And what I'll do is just change it into another Freedom Flex. Oh, no, I want a Freedom Flex, not a Freedom. So duplicate that. Here, I'll scooch my Sapphire Reserve over, put that there so the pink all matches up. There we go. So right now we have 2 Freedoms, 2 Freedom Flexes in our household. Next time the annual fee comes up for the Sapphire Preferred, we'll have 3 Freedom Flexes and 2 Freedoms. So I can hit the rotating categories hard. And now that Chase is doing the pop-up window thing, and we've all applied for all of the mainline MR earning cards, I really wouldn't want to cancel it even if we don't use it, just to keep it open for the sake of bandwidth, basically. So in case some awesome Chase card comes out in the future and I want a product change to it, have the option of doing that at least. Then the next step is, so I have these 2 business triple cashes from US Bank. Don't really need both. I know some people might keep them around to get like the Adobe credit of $100 once a year. I don't want to mess with that. So I think the one that is the older of the 2, the one I didn't just apply for, the 0% interest phase ends in like June or early July. So once that comes along, I'm going to get rid of that, not have them as duplicates. Oh, come on. There we go. So down to just 1 triple cash. I'll pause and catch up on comments here. Let's see. New Again wants to know which saver Fleet has, and are they moving yours to Discover? Fleet just has the standard saver that came with a $200 bonus, and I got no notification switching me yet like they did with Capital One debit. New Again acknowledges that Capital One is a mess. By the way, we have 85 people on board. Let's see if we can get over 90. Keep on clicking the thumbs up button. I would really appreciate it. If you watch this after the fact, just put any comment down below. If you're one of the non-live watchers, you can even just say something like tomato today, just to feed the algorithm a little bit. QC Man says, changing your CSP to CFF will be an interesting data point. I thought I saw that you can't product change a Visa to a MasterCard with Chase anymore, but perhaps that was just a few people. If that's true, that's a newer thing. About a year and a half ago, I was able to do it. So who knows? If that's the case, I'll just product change it to the classic Freedom. Solid Liquid Fox says you may not be able to get a Freedom Flex because it's a MasterCard. They will offer you the vanilla Freedom Visa. So yeah, if it comes to that, we'll go that route. Obviously, Freedom Flex, almost said a naughty. Freedom Flex is slightly better because it has that baked in 3x on pharmacy and dining. So when you have your boost up, instead of getting 5x, you're getting 7x. Fleet says, I'm actually about to hit the Capital One Cafe in San Francisco in literally 15 for a cup of coffee before my day. Want me to ask? What are you going to ask? Like, hey, is this going to change into a Discover card in the near future? They won't know, but it'll be fun to ask. So record the reaction. See what happens. I almost stopped at a Capital One Cafe in Washington, D.C. to get my half-priced beverage, but ran out of time. So that's one of those benefits. You want to use it just to say you've used it, even though it's kind of like, meh, whatever. All right. Back to the dashboard here. Resuming in 5, 4, 3. All right. So somebody mentioned earlier, I don't remember who it was, something about the Ritz-Carlton card. We'll take a look right. Don't do that. Take a look right here. We've got the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless card. And you know what that's for. The whole purpose for that card, the entire reason that card exists is so it can turn into a Ritz card for me. And my 1-year anniversary comes up in about the middle of summer, maybe the latter part of summer. So first chance I get, I'm going to product change that bad boy, and that Marriott Bonvoy Boundless will be turning into the Ritz-Carlton card. That's a sharp looking card. So that's going to go right about there, at least for the time being. So that'll turn into a Ritz. And you might say, Doug, you've got a Ritz and a Sapphire Reserve. Well, I probably don't have it for a lot longer. I've had the CSR for quite a while. It's bounced back and forth. Sometimes it's been the Reserve. Sometimes it's been the Preferred. It almost varies year to year. I did get in on the $550 annual fee last renewal, which was in August. If for some reason they offer me that again as like a retention offer, I'll take it. But if they ask for the full $800, I'm not going to be keeping it. I will product change that into a Sapphire Preferred. Basically, that would be Preferred. Did I spell that right? Where is it? There it is. I'll be changing that into a Sapphire Preferred. So that'll have my yellow border and all that. There we go. Back you go, down there in the bottom left-hand corner. So basically, I'm paying the $95 a year fee to be able to transfer my points from Chase over to their transfer partners, Hyatt, Aeroplan, the things that work for me well. Yes, I know there's rumors about the CSP going up an annual fee to $150, but what choice do I have? Well, I could switch one of my business cards over to an Ink Preferred if they keep that at $95, but all I can do is react based on the info we have now. So this is a concept of a plan. This is not a hard and fast plan. Now, if you look over here at the Capital One section, you'll see that I have both a Venture X and a Venture One. That might seem kind of silly. So my oldest card ever, I got it 25 years ago, started out as a Capital One generic card. It didn't even have a name back then. Eventually became a Quicksilver, then it became a Venture One. I opened a Venture X, and then later on, I flip-flopped those because I wanted the Venture X to be the one with the longest credit history. So what eventually became my current Venture X has the longest credit history. The Venture One I got back around right when the Venture X came out. Was that 2022, 2023, something like that? You might be wondering, why am I keeping it around? Well, it's on my credit history. It helps increase my available credit, so it's not really doing any harm. Some people say there's a one Capital One rule, but now that I have the Duo, I'm not really that concerned about it anyway. But also that card has thrown me a few special offers for balance transfers here and then, where they take the normal 5% balance transfer fee down to 3%. And there have been times where, like, when I had the triple cash at 0%, I'm coming up on the end of the period and I've been saving money in a side account to pay it off. And I come up just, like a few bucks short. Maybe I'm carrying a balance of $12,000 and I have $10,000 set aside to pay it off. And for the others, I'd have to dip into like mutual funds and stuff. I really don't want to do that. So I'll just put like the last $2,000 on the Venture One, and I don't have time to sign up for a new card or something like that. And it's like a $62 fee or something along those lines. So it has come in handy a couple times in that way. So I might keep it around just for that reason. Also, if you look in the Capital One app, they do give you the option to product change it to something else. Right now, there's really nothing I would want to product change it to. But once the Discover integration is fully completed, might I have the option to change it to a Discover It, the rotating category card? So it's probably going to stick around, even though it's not really very purposeful right now. I don't put any spend on it, but I think it's worth keeping around for that reason alone. Let me check the comments here, see if we've got any worth mentioning. Oh, they're all worth mentioning. Any worth catching up on? There, we talked about that. Rex is here. How you doing, Rex? Hey, it's Dugroz Day. Sure is. Same bat time, same bat place. Family Travel with John says, good morning. Dropping in for the algorithm. I'll catch the replay later. I sure appreciate that. Thank you. Rex celebrates 8 months of membership. Booyah. Celebrate. Thank you for your dedication. I really appreciate that. Remember, if you join as a member while this is going, we'll have a little celebration. And those of you watching after the fact, say tomato. QC Man says tomato, even though he's watching live. And New Again says, we're talking about the Union Square San Francisco Capital One Lounge. Okay, got it. Solid Liquid Fox. I'm product changing my Boundless as well in the summer to a second Ritz. Ooh, what's your use case for the second one. I imagine it's because you can use the incidental credits easily. Apparently, that's what lots of people have said. And you get that juicy free night certificate. We did clear 90 people on board, 93 people. Now let's work on 100. So keep on clicking thumbs up. See if we can get concurrent 100 viewers. If anybody sees it and I miss it, just let me know. Let's see. QC wants to know, do you already have the 10K limit on the Boundless? That's a great question. I definitely have enough credit I can shift around if needed. So let me just take a quick look here. I've got my handy dandy Chase app on my very old phone. I was getting physical therapy the other day. I have kind of a wrist hand thing going on. And the therapist said, you still have an iPhone with a home button? I was like, yes, I do. It's literally the oldest one possible, the home button. Yep. So my Marriott Boundless has a credit limit of $12,700. So I am good. I can qualify as a Visa Infinite. Rex wants to know what's the horn is from. Horn. Let's see. I don't know what you're referencing with horn. Like that kind of horn? Like a celebration horn? Fill me in. Okay. Talking about some personal stuff here. Flex throughout, or FLX throughout corn to feed the algorithm. Texas Dog is here and says, howdy, good to see you. And Marsuth says there's a Capital One Cafe in Union Square in New York City as well. It's 2 stories. Awesome. Okay. Back to the main show here. Resuming in. I need to zoom back out. 5, 4, 3. There's a couple other things that are going to happen here. So if you look over at my Citi collection, now this is a lot less exciting now that they've devalued their transfer to hotel partners, cutting Choice Hotels by 25% and I Prefer by 50%. By the way, if you're still on, Ron, I do need to look at that I Prefer hotel in Washington, Pennsylvania. Washington, Pennsylvania. I am going to eventually make some sort of change here. So what's probably going to happen is when I hit my 1-year anniversary, which will be this coming December, unless something new comes along, my Strata Elite is going to become a different kind of Strata, S-T-R-A. There we are. It's going to become a Strata Premier. I'd rather have the $95 annual fee. I would rather keep 3X on all 3 of those categories. It's good enough for my purposes. I don't dine out on city nights that often, so I often get caught eating lunch in New York City before 6 p.m. So most of my dining out is lunch or occasionally breakfast. Supper is really only here and there. In fact, a few days ago, my wife, I think it was last Friday, my wife went to a play in downtown Des Moines with some colleagues from work. I was invited, but had already made plans to do Facebook editing or YouTube editing, so I politely declined. And they said, we're going to go out to eat afterwards. And I sent her with my Strata Elite so I could get legitimate city nights. It was on a Friday or Saturday. And when I came home, I was like, hey, did you get to use the card? 6 points? She's like, no, somebody else offered to pay. I'm like, oh. So it's weird because like we saved probably 20 to 30 bucks, but I was still disappointed I didn't get the points. Don't think that way, Doug. But anyway, I digress. So yes, the Citi Elite will be product change into a Citi Strata Premier, assuming they don't change anything really weirdly. And then at that point, there's really no point in having a Citi Strata. I know there is like that one random category a month, but that won't really be like a thing for me. So I'll just change that into a double cash either then or maybe even before then. Who knows? So bye-bye Citi Strata. You're going to turn into a double cash. So my end game with Citi should look like that. Strata Premier, 2 custom caches and a double cash. I might throw kind of a desperation application for the double cash to see if I can get it with a sign-up bonus when we get to like October or so, just depending on where things stand at that time. That would obviously impact my strategy. I really want to get a double cash right now, but when I think about the math, it makes more sense to wait until more like 3rd or 4th quarter this year. And then I might add an Attune card. I haven't decided yet. Wells Fargo Attune, but let's just say for the sake of what might happen, Wells Fargo Attune is that weird card that gets like, 4X on dog food stores, barbers, salons. and bookstores, which applies to some but not all Amazon purchases. If we did this, it would probably be in my wife's name. Now, some people have said like you can't apply for more than one Wells Fargo card every 18 months. People like Luke and others say that's a bunch of bull crap. You can go way more. You can have way better velocity than that. So since she just got the autograph this month, we'll find out, but maybe summer or fall, sign her up for the Wells Fargo Attune. And then there's some other things to take care of in a certain period in time that are a little more like, I know this won't be popular with everyone, but I'm going to do it anyway just for peace in our home. And that pertains to my wife's 2 business credit cards with Chase. She has the Ink Business Preferred and an Ink Business Unlimited. Both of them have no balance right now. Honestly, we got them both for the sign-up bonuses, and we're not really using them in any way whatsoever. So the Ink Unlimited, we're already past the first anniversary, so there's really nothing going on with that. The Ink Preferred, I'll wait until the first anniversary just in case there's like an offer or something. But since about 2 weeks before we went to Europe last summer, so we're talking like June of last year, my wife keeps getting locked out of her Chase business login over and over. It's like we call in, we unlock it, change the password, and then like a few days later, it gets locked again. So either somebody's trying to steal the identity or it's just a glitch with Chase. But I've asked them probably 4 times now, is there anything you can do about that? They said, well, you can change your password. That's a big deal because since it's in my wife's name, she has to call in with me. And like I said, there's something to be said for peace in the Player 2 household. So honestly, once we're ready to close down the preferred, I'm not going to renew them. I'm just going to cancel them. And I know somebody's probably out there thinking like, well, what if you need a business cash in the future? Or you know, you never know, something awesome might happen. It's like, I choose household peace. I choose wife points over Chase points. I will handle all the business stuff on my end. So those 2 cards are just going to go away sometime later this year because I don't want the hassle. For some reason, the login on her personal account works just fine, but the login in her business account, I've tried it mobile and desktop, although I haven't tried mobile in a while. It just keeps getting locked, and you have to call. You have to talk to a human. There's no way to do it in an automated manner. You can't do it online. It's just super annoying. All right, so now we need to rearrange this just a little bit to make it a little more common sense here. So I'm going to move the Ritz-Carlton down here, move the Wells Fargo card over here, kind of keeping the issuers group together. I don't know of any way to keep this awkward hole from being there. Maybe if I move this guy up here, and then there we go. That makes more sense. At least they're all touching, even though we've got some like curves and those kind of things. So over here, we've got the Amex quadrant right here. Here's Chase down the bottom. We have 3, 6, 9. Actually, this doesn't make sense. 10, 11. 11 Chase cards. Come on, line up. Line up. There you go. We have 6 Wells Fargo cards, 3 with Capital One. We have 3 with US Bank. We have the 4 that are with Citi and the 1 weirdo, the Wyndham Earner business card with Barclays. I'm okay with keeping the Wyndham Earner business card, even though the Vacasa trick has completely gone away, because it does give you 15,000 Wyndham points a year. That's enough for 1 middle-of-the-road place or 2 lower-end places, so it more than pays for itself. Stayed at a Days Inn once that was well over $100. Stayed at a St. Louis, I think it was a Wingate by Wyndham that would have been close to $200. So for a $95 annual fee, I'm getting enough to get enough free points to cover one of those. Or I can wait till the next time we go to the UK, and it's the enough to get a free night in a cottage with cottages.com. So yeah, there we are. That's what the portfolio will look like after all my designs come to fruition. Of course, we all know the odds of this actually happening are tiny. There's going to be different like things that come along. Like I might pick up a Amex Business Gold just for the sake of the sign-up bonus. There might be some totally new card that blows me out of the water. Wells Fargo can still impress with that. There's a lot of options, but if that happens, it'll put us at 34. No, did I count that wrong? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 4, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 32. Sorry, bad math there. I should have just done 35 minus 3. I don't know why I didn't do that. New math. So yeah, 32 cards. That's about the upper end of what I like to manage. I don't want it to get a lot higher than that. But every card has a purpose, at least a little bit. What do you guys think? How does this look in terms of a strategy? How is it shaken out? I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions on the topic at hand. Now, let's catch up on comments. That concludes the theme of the day. And then we'll transition into our community tab questions. QC wants to know if I still have an iPhone 6. This is actually an iPhone SE 3rd generation, which is the equivalent of an iPhone. Oh, this is interesting. I can see my reflection in the phone on the screen. Ooh. It's the equivalent of an 8.5 in terms of technology. So that's the last one that had a home button. This is a virtual home button, not the actual tactile button. Solid Liquid Fox says, yeah, it's no fun having just one 85K certificate. It needs a second one to chain a second getaway with both Ritz cards. Gotcha. Dem is thinking about tomatoes and pizzas. New Again wants to know this. Question for the chat. LA or New York City? Bill Wright is on board. How you doing, Bill? Thanks for feeding the algorithm with a dot. I appreciate that. QC Man says, those Admiral Clubs passes not enough to help you keep the elite? No, I don't think so. FLX chooses New York City because it's closer. New Again says, thanks for being honest, Doug. That's why we love this channel. Never forget those cards are based in social engineering. Thank you. Glad to hear it. Allie is here. Oh, and now goes by the name Eclectic Allie. Good to see you, Allie. Thanks for being on board. QC Man says, once every 18 months rule. That makes Chase 524 seem churn friendly. That's what kind of the historic rule stated about Wells Fargo is, but I don't know if it's accurate or not. I think it's not. Sleepy Rod wants to know, since the ink train is dead, how is everyone racking up Chase points? Hit those rotating categories real hard and then use your ink cash to get Office Max, Office Depot, or Staples gift cards when possible. YouTube Experiment says, heading on from work listening, not looking while driving. Good job. Thanks for your support. FLX says, I'm earning Chase points through Built. Okay, I gotcha. Let's see. Solid Liquid Fox says, praying for good freedom categories is the only way. Is it me, or has the warehouse rotating category completely abandoned? I don't know. I did see that next quarter is Amazon, and it's like a little bit of a snooze. Eduardo said, bros still live. I sure am. It's 11:21 Central Time, still going. New Again says, you can't really rack up UR points unless you travel. Maybe Chase will release new cards. They should. They did release the Slate card after all. But yeah, the gift card tactic is legit. We'll see. I have enough points with Aeroplan right now to get by for another 1.5 to 2 years. After that, the interesting thing is, because I feel like I need to save up Aeroplan points, I'm less likely to transfer my Hyatt points, Chase points to Hyatt. So I don't know what my hotel strategy is. I need to rethink it now that Choice is less good because of Citi's bad transfer ratio. Maybe I just need to lean into Wells Fargo completely. I've got my old Golden Pony, so I can get 1.5 in the portal. Now my wife has the autograph. Maybe I should just put all of our gas and dining spend on those. It's really not a terrible idea. And I can still transfer, at least for now, to Choice Hotels at 1 to 2. Jake Loves Jesus showed up. Happy Saturday, Dugroz. Just hopping in. Glad to hear it. All right. So I think that brings us to the community tab question. I'm going to have to fly through this fairly quickly because I need to be done by about 11:45 today. Thank you for those of you who have stuck around. 85 people. Did we ever clear 100? I kind of doubt it. Let me know if you see that or saw it. Hold on. That's copyrighted. I opened up YouTube on my phone and it just started playing the last song I was listening to, which, if you're wondering, was Never Gonna Let You Go by Sergio Mendes. Anyway, interesting story behind that song for another time. Maybe I could do Dugroz's song theory over on Dugroz Nostalgia and get like 18 viewers. All right, so every Saturday, usually somewhere between about 5 and 7 p.m., I will put a post on my community tab. So if you're looking through YouTube and you see a post, you know what a post is? A post is just like words or words with a picture. It's not a video. And on that post, I will do two things. One is I will tell you, you can ask me questions. You know, ask any question you want to ask. Obviously, in the worlds of points, miles, cashback, etc., it can be kind of tangential, like travel in general, or where I'm going with my family, or something like that. And I'll try my best to respond. But in addition to that, I share a picture and you're supposed to guess where that picture was taken. So let me show you today's picture here. There it is right there. So that's me, yours truly, standing in a street. This is one of my boys here. This elbow belongs to my other son. And you can see some houses or apartments. There's a street light. There's someone crossing the street. There's kind of a brick building. It looks sunny. I'm doing the dad thing like, now over there, that is south. If you're wondering which direction is south, it's very important you always orient yourself to the cardinal directions. It's actually kind of working. My boys are getting kind of good at cardinal directions. My wife, she's still in the dark on that one. But I'm pretty good at north, south, east, west. So that's the picture. You're supposed to guess where the picture was taken on the community tab. If you want to do it right now in person over in the chat, you sure can. I'm not going to stop you. But let's go ahead and dive into the questions here, and we'll see what people have said. Bryjack made the guess on the picture. This is me giving a historic tour of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Great guess, not quite. Let's see. A bunch of serious guesses. Okay. FLX in New York wants to know this. Given the relatively recent devaluations, Hilton, Hyatt, Citi over to Choice, how do you intend to pay for hotel stays moving forward? Amex points for Hilton's, Chase and or Bilt for Hyatt, Citi and or Wells Fargo for Choice, buying points, cash. Great question. I really appreciate that. Thank you, FLX. This is a multifactorial answer. So I will still keep Hyatt open when it's a perfect fit. I mentioned before, my son's gone to this chess tournament in East Moline, Illinois, twice now, and there's a Hyatt right down the road, category 1, 5,000 points, perfect fit. I'll still use Hyatt for that, assuming they don't, devalue a truckload. Even if it went up to like 8,500 points or 10,000, it would still be worthwhile because that's regularly over $200. But I'm not going to be doing truckloads of Hyatts because I want to preserve my Chase points for Aeroplan, and specifically coming from Chase to Aeroplan so I can use Boom, pay myself back. As I've mentioned, my boys have a senior trip coming up in about a little over a year, and it has to be booked through a travel agency. We have no choice. So I want to be able to pay that travel agency with the Aeroplan card and pay myself back on it, because that might be the only way we can afford to do it. So Hyatt's going to be a very minor player in the near future. Hilton, I think, still has a role. A lot of people like to bash on Hilton. I still regularly find Hiltons for over a half cent per point. So if I can just be patient and wait until there's a transfer bonus of at least 20%. So 1.2 becomes 2.4 functionally when there's a transfer bonus like that. So for every one Amex point, it becomes 2.4 on their side. So if you think about it like that, that's the equivalent of like, what's that work out to? If it was half a cent per point and there was no transfer bonus, it'd be 0.5. And I got to take that times 0.5 times 1.4. That's like 0.7. And then you double that. So that's the equivalent of cashing out your Amex points for 1.4 cents per point. Is 1.4 cents per point going to blow anyone out of the water? No. Is it still solid? Yes. So I think that's worth doing. As of right now, Choice Hotels can still get 1 to 2 with Wells Fargo. So I'm not going to have any qualms about doing that. I actually bought about 60,000 Choice points a year ago. I still have a whole bunch of Hilton points to run through. So we're really talking like what my strategy is going to be a year or two down the road. I actually have 2 Hilton free night certificates, 1 IHG free night certificate, and 3 Marriott free night certificates I got to burn through. Now, the Hilton FNCs are in my dad's name, but I need to use those. My dad's not going to be traveling anywhere anytime in the near future. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that, FLX. Scott S. wants to know this. With PayPal's debit card being nerfed in August, are you considering something else for dining, like maybe another custom cash or something else? That's a good question. So what will happen with PayPal is in August, you will no longer be able to cash out to a bank account or your PayPal account. You can only use it for gift cards. Some people have wondered if you can use it for a penny per point Amazon credit. And if that's the case, I'll still use it. It's really not a big deal. I don't want to dedicate a custom cash to dining specifically because I can easily use my custom caches for some degree of strategery, so I don't really need to put everyday spend on them. So, I mean, if I had to pick right now, I would just use the Citi Strata or the Citi Strata Premier and get 3X. I know that's not exciting, but at least it's something. Or I'll just put it on any of the Chase cards and give 3X in dining and get it over to Aeroplan eventually. So, the best that I can do, the best that I can do is earn 3X. And of course, always look for little plays. All right, now we get into the people making guesses. First of all, down here, QC wants to know if the picture is somewhere in Australia. Nope, good guess though. So a bunch of people guessed it correctly. Mike Newland said this: on a gray London morning at the corner of Bridge Street and Parliament Street, Dugroz checked his phone as Big Ben loomed overhead. His positioning flight on United had landed right on time, booked with a perfectly timed crisp flyer transfer. He smiled, knowing that the entire trip from a last-minute Hyatt stay to the transatlantic business class seat had been stitched together with points that most people would have let expire. As a red double-decker bus rolled past, he thought to himself, this is the exact intersection. It isn't just iconic. It's proof that miles, when used right, could turn an ordinary Tuesday into something cinematic. Appreciate that. That's a great little made-up story there, Mike. And then Yuri BSU says, nice pick. I hope to be there with the family on Easter school break. I'm flying Virgin, staying in a Hyatt for 8 nights, mostly London plus 2 day trips. Just got to make it through that TSA line in New York. Luke says, great picture. It's the Westminster area in London, England, near the House of Parliament. Ron Burns says, Westminster Square, London, United Kingdom, next to the Churchill statue. We were there in September, and has a question for the group. Remember that I need to come back to that. And then Flying Ryland says, Parliament. And Funny Tooth Thag says, I know those buildings anywhere. You're in London. Calderd says, London, United Kingdom. Big Ben is behind you and to the right. If you turn to the right, you'll be looking across the River Thames. All of those people are correct. This is, in fact, in London, and it is, in fact, right next to the House of Parliament. What I did was some creative cropping. Here's what the full picture looks like. I just tried to cut off the iconic part of Big Ben so you couldn't see it. So well done. Lots of people guessed that one correctly. If you want a more standardized picture, there you go. That's what it looked like. That's when my family was there a year and a half ago, and or 2.5 years ago, excuse me. And then here's an epic picture my wife took of me looking particularly glamorous out in front of the iconic location. I said I'd come back to the question that Ron embedded under his guess. He said this: if my British Airways points are about to expire, can I transfer them to a different Avios partner for a few days and then back to British to reset the 3-year expiration clock? I actually don't know the answer to that. Does anybody here on the chat know if you transfer British Avios to a different Avios program and then wait a couple weeks and transfer them back, does that reset the expiration clock? Don't know. In the meantime, Sleepy Rod says, how are you going to rack up Wells Fargo points quickly, though? Not as much subs. You are right about that. But I did just get an autograph from my wife, so I got 20,000 points coming my way. I can do a little bit of strategery with gas stations with Wells Fargo. Every now and then, Wells Fargo will throw out an offer like, spend $200 at a gas station, get 10% back or something. And that would be a great time to do it. QC Man says, heartbreak for both our teams yesterday with Iowa State and St. John's both going out. Are you going to be a good Iowan and root for Iowa, or can't cheer for the enemy? My position with the University of Iowa is I just don't care. I'm not proactively rooting for them. I'm not necessarily rooting against them. I just can't bring myself to care enough. Sorry to hear about your St. John's team going out. Yeah, that was kind of a bummer, and so late at night too. Ian says, having a rough few days. That Mike Newland comment made me laugh. Thanks, Mike. I'm glad to hear it. Little Dugroz therapy session with special guest Miles of Smiles chipping in. Sounds like we're done. So I'm going to read off all the people who contributed here, and then we will bring her to a close. First of all, looking at the Top Tip Jar, which is the top link in the URL. If you're watching this after the fact, you can use that too if you want to support me in a slightly higher percentage. Juan from MIA dropped $3 in there. Thank you very much. As far as on the YouTube platform, Ian got the ball rolling before I even said 543 with a $49.99 super chat. Wow, thank you so much, Ian. I really appreciate that. Tom Graber gifted 1 membership. George Rommel dropped $4.99. LN gave a $1.49 super sticker. Mike Newland came through as the GOAT and donated 20. That's 20 Dugroz Reports memberships. DEM is paying it forward with $4.99. Gentleman Explorer contributed $5 towards the Speeding Up the Lego Construction Fund. Stinky Monkey Baby said $1.99 with no more stinky refreshes. QC Man then donated a membership, which I appreciate, just as good as the $3 super chat. Rex Blind celebrated 8 months of membership. So this is your last chance to drop points on me, or not points. Your last chance to drop a super chat, super sticker, or anything like that here. Of course, after the fact, you can always do a regular super. I think they call it a super thanks. Click the 3 dots, find it. It does work. A few people have done it. Sleepy Rod says, praying that your UR Point Train gravy takes your trip with your son. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So even though my kids have to go through a travel agency, I ain't going through a travel agency. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. We'll wrap it up right there. And as always, may your spending be frugal and may your points be plenteous. Thanks for watching.